Hey, what's up, guys? It's Rebecca Mormon. We are getting ready to air our 3-part series on WrestleMania. It's been a long time coming. Thank you guys for tuning in to listen. We know it took a long time for it to get here. We apologize. We just had some things in life come up that have been pretty busy, kept us on our toes, but they're here, and we're ready for you guys to listen. So enjoy. Welcome back to part 3 of this special 3-part series on the entertainment from the 573. And no, once again, this is not Ryan McDaniel or Peter Lewis. And King is once again scared of my reporter voice for the second straight episode.
He really doesn't like it. That's Rebecca Mormon. I'm Matt Mormon. And
there was King.
There was our dog King.
King, do I need to stop using my reporter voice? Come here.
Hop back up.
Come here.
Come here. Let the people see you. Come here. Up. There you go.
Audio, you're really missing out.
Oh, and okay, he gone.
I didn't try that.
He doesn't like leaving people out, and so you mentioned that like audio people are gonna be missing out, and King said, "I don't like uninclusion." So, is disclusion?
I don't know.
Is that the word of leaving people out?
Anyway, we are here to talk about the final part of our little honeymoon excursion to Las Vegas. That was all things WrestleMania. So in episode 1, we covered night 1. In episode 2, we covered night 2 of WrestleMania. And here we are covering basically everything else. That was WrestleMania World, or WWE World, whatever it's actually called.
WWE World.
Sure, that. WrestleCon and Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
So.
And this is the Raw after Mania.
Not
the Raw that just occurred in Kansas City. Down the road from us, I can see where you get confused.
Well, and also, for our video listeners, you can tell we are not actually recording all 3 of these parts back to back. We are in different clothes and even different hairstyles. So, yeah.
Different hat.
So, yes, we are recording this the Tuesday after the Raw that was in Kansas City. AKA, we're about 10 days out of Mania.
Which is fine.
We're doing the best we can. So we'll just jump right in. So WrestleMania World, that was WWE World, excuse me. So that was from Thursday to Monday.
Yeah.
That was at the Las Vegas Convention Center West Hall. And mind you, this convention center is giant because the Ubers were basically dropping you off in the South Hall, which was basically a quarter to half-mile walk from the West Hall. So I mean, this place it's popping. It's big. It was in the West Hall. So we had our tickets for Friday. So what we decided to do after we did kind of our other Vegas-y things, because we got in on Tuesday, we weren't doing anything until wrestling-wise until Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, and that's when we planned on going to the Superstore and hitting WWE World. And then instead of going to Friday Night SmackDown, we were just going to spend our time there. And then we'd go back to the hotel, order Panda Express, and then watch SmackDown in our hotel.
Well, and part of that was because I think this kind of goes for a lot of the like non-WrestleMania itself, but WWE activities. You saw commercials, plenty of, the Undertaker One Dead Man show and the roast and then NXT on Tuesday. These were all at the Fontainebleau.
Well, I don't know. The Fontainebleau. Something. It's French. It's that fancy hotel in Vegas.
The convention center is connected to that, right? Or they're right across the street from each other. But those are on like the complete opposite side of the strip from WrestleMania itself.
Mm-hmm. And we stayed on the stadium side, so we were on the south side of Vegas.
Yeah, and so really that made things probably a little bit frustrating. I don't know, because we didn't go to like the One Dead Man show, but that's part of why we did what we did with not wanting to try to rush from WWE World all the way to the other side of the city to get to T-Mobile Arena, which is also kind of on that same area as the stadium, for Friday.
Well, because
that was part of the planning.
Yeah, because we knew we were going to be doing some shopping. And we'll show you our goodies here in just a second. But basically, after we did all of our Vegas-y things, we were going to go to a show that night. Tip number 1 for anyone ever wanting to go to Vegas. Commit to the shows that you want to see ahead of time, because you will be able to find those tickets cheaper. We did not think that was going to be the case. We thought they'd either be cheaper or the same price, just especially with how many shows there are in Vegas. We find that with sporting events, especially out here in Kansas City, maybe not the Chiefs, but like
the Royals.
The Royals.
We find that with the Royals.
Well, that's not only are we in a right now, but we are also there's more games a year. So we were just like, okay, we're just gonna decide day of. Okay, here's what we want to do. not realizing tickets were going to double in price. And so we were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Do we go to the show, spend way more money than we were initially planning for a show, or twiddle our thumbs? And then I got this brilliant idea because a lady walked through as we were making a decision. She had gone to WrestleMania. She had gone to the Superstore. And she showed us pictures of her meeting Jade Cargill and Nia Jax. And I saw the cool sweatshirt. And she had a Jade shirt on. And I was like, Matt, do you want to go shopping? And he said, yeah. So we Ubered over to the Las Vegas Convention Center, West Hall. Walked down the giant hallway. We saw WWE World on the right. Walk a little bit further, and then there was a Superstore. The first impressions of the store when you walked in. You're a boy.
Well,
you're a boy, but it's also a wrestling store.
Yeah. My first unorganized chaos is kind of the first. It felt very Black Friday in a lot of ways. They did have kind of the like expensive section over there where that's where like the championship titles and the autographed pictures, like all the really expensive stuff was kind of over in its own section. And they did have kind of like sections of t-shirts that were just like, there was a Hall of Fame section. There was, you'd have like a person's name and then like a rack underneath of it of a certain thing. You had like 3 of those with bloodline stuff. You did have like a women's section, that kind of thing. But like it felt very Black Friday in a lot of ways. I did want to say though, and we'll get into it a little bit more with one of my shirts in particular, because I think it was the hottest item in Vegas. Definitely the right call by you, going on Thursday. So Thursday night, the store was open until midnight. We got there probably, like 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere in that range. Mm-hmm. We had no wait to get in. We had no wait to check out, right?
It seemed like just a normal crowd, like maybe like a heavier Walmart, like right before a holiday crowd, not like Black Friday.
That's fair. Yeah, it looked like Black Friday later in the day, later on Friday. But it was busy, but it wasn't like incredibly crowded, you couldn't move. The Black Friday-ness feeling is more of the fact of the quantity of stuff. Yeah. And just like the over...
and everything was very spread out. So like...
because it was part of the convention hall.
It was very chaotic, but like... and I think the reason they say it's the biggest may not necessarily be the quantity of stuff they're selling. It's the size to try to accommodate a decent amount of people to be in that space. So for me, I was kind of a little... first off, I was also very overwhelmed because I told myself going into this was... I've never really had a shopping spree where I'm just like, I had like, here, just go free
spend this money.
I've kind of been sort of a tightwad my whole life. My dad might say otherwise. Greg, I'm looking at you.
Be nice to your father.
But Mama Sharon, Mama G taught me how to look at like the sales racks and all that stuff. And so like, we had other stuff going on in our life. So I was like, money was kind of like, but I was like, we saved for this. I am going to go ham. I am not going to limit myself.
Well, let's backtrack on that a hair here.
Okay.
You were not going to limit yourself on t-shirts.
Okay, I was not going to limit myself. I never said how you, as my husband, was going to potentially limit me. You were the logistical mindset over someone just wanting to...
But you never once seriously considered, the Tiffany Stratton autograph championship belt. You never once considered the John Cena authentically worn Elimination Chamber outfit that was $10,000.
No, I'm pretty sure it was more because I'm pretty sure I said that's more than our house down payment that we put down yesterday. Just saying. I actively remember saying that.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, in me, I wasn't interested in that stuff. I was interested in the apparel, and I was thinking there's going to be more like accessories, and maybe even like a lot of wrestlers are becoming writers now, and I'm a giant reader. I was like, I'm going to buy all of the books that I haven't read yet or that aren't on my bookshelf, which is most of them.
Those are probably the 2 types of items I was most surprised by not seeing.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% on the book part. I definitely expected there to be just like tables of books. Like that just is like a thing that to me would have made a lot of sense. Because like you said, there's a ton of these wrestlers, legends included, who have books. So that was one thing I definitely was kind of expecting. And then, also just like the non-clothing accessory items that also are not belts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of those. There were a lot of replica belts. You could do anything from like, the literal authentic belt to like a plastic, like.
Well, we almost got our nephew a plastic belt, but we didn't think he'd be interested.
But like that was available though. So like a non-championship belts, like other accessory type things, there just really wasn't much there. Like honestly, so the bracelets on your wrist here. WWE was selling the CM Punk replica friendship bracelets, and that's what I based these off of when I made them for your Christmas this year.
Yeah. I just hit the mic. I'm so sorry.
Something like that. Though, like CM Punk friendship bracelets. I would have expected to have seen those.
Yeah, there were some socks.
There were socks, and we'll get into the. You know what? The one item we don't have up here, I already put in the box downstairs. The Christmas ornament.
Oh yeah.
So there was.
And then your cup is in the cabinet. So
Okay, sure. So there's a couple.
I might send you to grab that when I go do shirts.
But yeah.
Yeah. So well, one other thing before we start showing off what we got. Just also the variety of talent that I was expecting there to be clothing for. Kind of lackluster.
I don't know if I would use the word lackluster. I feel like that's a tad harsh.
I mean, I was trying to just use a big word. It
was a good big word. I'm really proud of your vocabulary. Because I know specifically we were looking for Braun Breaker.
We were looking for stuff for Braun Breaker, and I'm just even thinking in general.
And when you said Braun, my brain went to Braun Strowman, and I didn't see him either.
Well, and there was no Bronson Reed.
And there was no Bronson Reed. So, like, yeah, some like the mid-card guys, there really wasn't anything for, but I think basically every main eventer had something there.
And I mean, and there was a giant section just of WrestleMania stuff. There was a section of dolls, like, because they have the deal with Mattel. And then, a couple of people had, like, their own little sections. The Hall of Fame had their own section.
Yeah. John Cena had a whole
section. Cena had his whole section.
And, like, Roman Reigns had, like, a stack. Bianca Belair, I think, was one who had a stack. There was a golf section.
Like emo section. It was Rhea, Undertaker, Dominic.
Judgment Day stuff was in there. Damian Priest stuff was in there. And I think that's where the Wyatt stuff was at. Like that actually I really enjoyed the fact that it was separated from the other booths.
But it was smack in the middle.
But like I liked how it was its own standalone little section. Also, we never went into it. There was also a WrestleMania main event Travis Scott section.
Yeah, the Cactus Jack line.
Which we never went into that. I think that was actually a section where there was usually like a line to get into that section. Because it was kind of its own blocked off little area. I don't know. I don't know, not while we were there, but I noticed that there was like a little like back and forth, like a little separator line thing.
And I really didn't look at any of his stuff going into it, so I really had no idea what to expect. I honestly didn't even know that if they were like wrestling shirts or if it was just Travis Scott's clothing line that he named Cactus Jack, and because he's a big deal at this particular Mania, he's selling his own clothing there. I wasn't totally sure, and so I wasn't wasting my time going in there. Do you want to go get your stuff and I can start showing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will do my very best to describe these as clearly as possible for the audio listeners, but I will be showing on camera the stuff that we found at the WrestleMania store because I've always wanted to do one of these. Okay, so my favorite find is this jacket. It's a zip-up black jacket. On the back, it is in big letters. It says Las Vegas WM 41. It's got some dice on it. It's got red and blue and like the card suits and stuff. It has April 2025 on it. And then on the front, on like the corner here, I don't even know what that's technically called. It says it's just the WrestleMania logo. I've been wearing this practically nonstop. I've been wearing it to work, and there was one time my coworker was like, "Oh, are you cold one day?" It really was not cold in that building. I was like, I just want to wear the jacket. Another find was this WrestleMania long sleeve shirt. This was what I wore in the other episodes. So it's kind of just like a play on the logo, but a different color. Has 2025 in poker chips at the top. Oh, for my audio listeners, this is like a burnt orange kind of thing. It's got on the back, it's very small up by the neckline. It has the WrestleMania logo. But it just kind of has WrestleMania in big letters in like the WrestleMania font. It says Las Vegas. It's got a pair of dice. It does say Nevada, in case you don't know where Las Vegas is. And it's got April 19th and 20th. So very soft. It's that like soft color. Let's see. I'm trying to sort through with like the actual like WrestleMania stuff.
Do you want me to go ahead and talk about my stuff?
Yeah, and then when you're done, I actually need you to go grab the last thing that's in the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got two things over here.
And did you hear how I was describing it on camera?
No, I didn't, because I was too busy, using the glass here.
Why don't I do it?
Well, I can describe items. So here I have a WrestleMania whiskey glass. It has the WrestleMania 41 Vegas logo, like lasered into the glass here. The whiskey, the maker's mark here was not included. I just went and poured that from the from the bottle over there, so that way, the viewers here can get a real authentic, like what do you use this for, right? You might.
I feel like it's for like we have a couple other whiskey glasses. There's like a couple of blues ones. This one's a little bit bigger.
I would agree with that.
Couldn't tell you what size though.
But yeah, no, I didn't know if people knew what you did with a whiskey glass, so I went ahead and poured it.
I think that actually might be 4.5 ounces because I remember looking it up online because we thought about getting another one, but we didn't want to go back into the store. And we'll find out later. We weren't able to.
And well, yeah, number one, this was one of a pretty like hot ticket. There weren't many of these.
And it's not online.
Well,
maybe now it is, but I looked that week and they were like, oh yeah, it's already out of stock.
We have a shot glass collection, which we were hoping for a shot glass, and we could not find one. So that's the whiskey glass. And then here I have the souvenir cup. I only brought one out, but we have two. One we got at the store. What?
No, we don't. We don't have two.
We have two.
We're giving one away.
Well, we currently have two.
Okay.
We haven't given it away yet. So currently
we're trying not to get rid of secrets.
All right. Well, then we have one. Whatever. But anyway, I like it a lot. It's got little pictures, little cards of. I mean, almost everybody probably on the card. I haven't actually gone through it, but
there's some people. There's more people. There's more people on it than were on the card, but everyone that was on the card is on there. Like there's Dakota Kai on there, Nia Jax.
Well, is everyone who was on the card on here?
Well, maybe not Rey Fenix. I thought I saw Penta.
Well, Penta's there, but I do not see El Grande Americano.
Okay,
luckily, his good friend Chad Gable is on here.
Okay.
But I do not see El Grande Americano.
Wait, is Logan Paul on there?
Yeah, I saw him earlier. I don't know if I saw Jacob, actually.
So the thing is, I'm not sure how they were if they were maybe even showing those, but like at WWE World, they had these in the same like kind of posters.
I don't remember seeing that.
Well, they were kind of just hanging around the rafters. I remember looking at a few of them during the Pat McAfee show. And then they were also just like on the barriers to like outside the store. So it just kind of
the individual people.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the whole print.
Not the whole print.
Okay.
The individual people.
Also, so we got we got this one at the only one we have. We got at WWE World on Thursday night, but at the show at WrestleMania itself, it was the same cup. We didn't know that, so we did not bring the cup with us. But if we did, it was the free refill cup. So we could have just spent $5 on the cup at WWE World, brought it in, and then not.
Well, at the stadium, it was $3.99. So.
But we got the free refill though, so we wouldn't even have to pay that.
Well, I mean, touche.
But we were able to bring. So for future WrestleMania goers, we were able to bring the cup that we bought night one. We were able to bring it back for night two and get the free refills. So
I mean, that might have been an Allegiant Stadium thing.
I don't know. I saw on Reddit someone asked the question, and they said a response to it was, "We did that at the one in Tampa a few years ago."
Okay.
And we were fine with doing it then.
So we're giving you all this as if it's going to be the same every year. Sorry if it's not.
Yeah, it could be.
So let's see. And also, I'm kind of trying to sort it between you and me, but it's not working.
Yeah,
so,
do what you see. Just pull something out.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay, so this was the main WrestleMania shirt. I guess you would say. I mean, because they had so many different designs, but this is the one that has the people on them. It has. Well, I'm trying to show the camera and also trying to remember.
Well, here, you hold it up. I'll say it. So at the top here, you got the night one main event of Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth freaking Rollins, which Seth won, by the way. Then the middle here, you've got the Night 2 main event of Cody Rhodes and John Cena, WWE Undisputed Championship match. Over here on the right-hand side of the person, you have stacked on top of each other Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. On the left-hand part, you've got Gunther and Jey Uso. Yeet. And then across the belly, across the bottom, you've got the women's triple threat match of Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky.
And then on the back, it says I was there in kind of like big, like showy letters, like the flashing letters.
And
when they say your name in lights. And then the WrestleMania logo's at the top and the dates are at the bottom. So this is what I say is like the main WrestleMania shirt. This is...
that's the style shirt they do for every pay-per-view. The I was there on the back, like that. They do that one for basically every show.
And they did that for the special draft episodes that they did because we went to the Raw draft when it was in Kansas City, and I have one of those shirts. As it says I was there. Let's see. Okay, so, and also some of these were from Walmart, but I'll still show them anyway.
Do you want to do those ones after? You want to keep it separated?
Sort of, yeah. Well, maybe we do that at the end of this part.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
So then in terms of WrestleMania itself, now we're going to go into your shirts.
Okay. What?
Yeah. You only have 2.
What?
You have 2.
What?
One of them is he's starting his own kind of collection of Stone Cold shirts.
What?
This one says Vegas 316.
What?
And Vegas is in red outline. 316's in blue.
It's in like a neon sign style.
Yes, that's what a lot of these are.
I wouldn't say I'm starting like a Stone Cold collection. Okay. I've got the 2.
You've got Kansas City, which what you got at the draft.
Yeah.
And then Vegas. And I said, would you ever get a St. Louis one? He said not if it's in Cardinals colors because the Kansas City 316 is in Chiefs.
Yeah, so like I already have a red one, but like if they did a St. Louis blue style one, without question, I would get that. If it was Cardinal style, I'd consider it. On the back here, you got the Smoking Skull. Looking really cool and all, doing Stone Cold stuff, the WrestleMania logo across the forehead of it.
And the smoke out of the eyes, one side is blue, one side is red.
Yeah, this is the shirt that I was talking about, being the hot ticket item of the Superstore. So
I'm not sure I paid attention during that part.
Well, so this is information you don't know, because it happened at the bathroom, and you didn't go in the men's bathroom. So
no, I didn't.
I was in line for the men's bathroom on night 1, I think it was. And literally 3 different guys, the bathroom had a long line, so you had to loop around, right? Okay, so when I first get in line, the people smack in front of me go, dude, I love that shirt. We've seen other people wearing it. We saw it at the Superstore. They only had smalls left.
Oh, no.
And we asked the people in the back. There was none left of our size. Then I am looping around. People in front of me said, dude, we love that shirt. They were out when we went to the Superstore. Then I'm looping around, and people further behind me go, dude, we love that shirt. They were out. So 3 different people in this one restroom line. And
at WWE World.
No, at the bathroom at WrestleMania on Saturday.
Okay.
So we went Thursday night.
Yeah.
The one group said they went on Friday.
Okay.
And the other 2, I think, said they were there on Saturday.
Okay.
And all 3, though, by the time even the Friday guys, it was sold out. On Reddit, again, I saw someone post a picture of that shirt and said, hey, I wanted one of these, but they were out at WWE World, and I guess they didn't have them at the WrestleMania itself merch stands.
Mm-hmm. They were, yeah, that's
They're
right.
like, if someone has one of these, I would love to buy it off you.
Dang.
And so it was. That Vegas 316
ended up being a hot ticket.
That was like the shirt. I didn't tell you about that. I kept that a little secret.
Okay.
3 different people in person plus a Reddit post.
Yeah.
Looking for that shirt.
Wow.
It's a great shirt. Like the Vegas 316. I don't know. I feel like if we went to another show in another city, I would consider it. The neon light Vegas-y style of it is really what tipped me off. Because a lot of them are kind of in their sports team style.
That was the first one you picked up.
It was. I saw it across the room, and it was like Ted Mosby seeing Robin.
And I'm not sure, because initially we were like, okay, let's walk a lap, let's see everything, because I was getting very, very overstimulated, just like I did in the M&M store. We're not talking about it on the podcast. If you want to know, just message us. Then maybe I can tell you. But yeah, we kind of walked around, and you said, nope, I'm going.
Yeah. I saw that one, and I was like, I don't need to go look at anything else. I know I want that.
And there was one, too, that I wanted right away, and I'll get to that.
And I think that one is representative of quite a few of these where they were kind of the Vegas specifics.
Yes.
As our dog comes dropping a bone and rushing in. It's okay, buddy.
Your second shirt, I'll
Up.
talk about this with you, and then you can go get my last thing. It is, I think this, because I'm not even sure you got through both laps, or the lap. I think you just picked these up, and we did the lap for me.
You're probably right.
Because you saw this, said, that's so clever. I love how they designed it.
Yep.
Would you like to talk about your Bianca Belair WrestleMania shirt?
So, as we all know, you cannot spell WrestleMania without EST, and she puts the EST in WrestleMania. So, it literally says you cannot spell without the, and then where it says in the middle, it's the WrestleMania logo, but the E, S, and T of WrestleMania are missing, and they're at the bottom in very big, stylized letters. It's a very, I don't know, I just thought it was really, really cool, really clever. I like
guess
how
it's punny, but I'm not really
sure
it's
punny.
punny.
It's a pun.
It's a pun, yeah.
It's a pun. Yeah, no, I love it. And I love Bianca. Like, Bianca is one of my favorites for a while now. You know, I think, we have the story from back when we went to Royal Rumble in St. Louis where it was like mid-WrestleMania and I just had this realization of like, oh yeah, Bianca Belair is just in this Rumble doing awesome. So I just started an EST chant and it catches on.
Yeah.
To the point where you could actually hear it on TV, which if you listen to part 1, not all chants make it onto TV.
No, they don't.
So, I love me some Bianca Belair. So yeah, that was just, I thought it was very clever, very unique also. And I think that is kind of a bit of a theme for at least both of mine for sure. And I think with a lot of yours too, is it was like.
Most of the stuff we got was WrestleMania specific. There's only, 2 from the Superstore and then a couple others that we found just at Walmart. But, so yeah, do you want to go get my other thing while I do another shirt? So I'm going to show you the one that I think I picked up right away. I've been wanting a shirt like this. Oh, that's not the only one that I was thinking of. The cards. There's actually 2. So, I've been wanting one of these, and I joked that it would actually be for no yeet. And it spells out how you do the hand symbols. Well, for Jey Uso, they actually did it for yeeting. It basically breaks down how to yeet in 3 steps. And it's Jey doing it with his big Jey grin. It says you start with your hands kind of out, then you put your hands up, and then you put your hands down. Yeah, basically that. If you're on video, you got that. And then the shirt itself is a navy. It's kind of in like the red and blue, kind of what Jey kind of goes for, like whatever he does, like a red. And then at the bottom it has the line of his song. It's just me, Oos, day 1-ish. It's just me, Oos. And then on the back and the top part of the corner, top part by the neck, King, is his palm tree, and it has his name. This is, I think, the one that I grabbed right away, and I said, this is amazing. And I really want one that has no yeet, because you have where you go, you put your hands across, and then you do, because for that one, it's really, you just do the wrist. At least I do. So I thought that one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one, I think, and then the other ones you got too. I think the ones you got that were not WrestleMania specific were good enough to warrant it.
So, my last 3 from WrestleMania World are all CM Punk.
Boo.
And so, yeah, I'll do this one. This
Chicago,
one is
man.
WrestleMania
Chicago,
themed. This is the CM Punk WrestleMania shirt. It has his wrists crossed as he used to do, which I learned, I put 2 and 2 together. He doesn't actually do really in the ring anymore. The wrist crossed, there's red X's on the tape. I think they're normally black. And he, in one of the hands he has, is that a royal flush?
It's a royal flush.
And then it says, in kind of like a blue, like, banner thing, it says, luck is for losers. I don't actually remember if he said that anywhere, or if it's just kind of cool.
I think it's just cool. It sounds like something he would say.
And then on the back, up by the collar, it says CM Punk in his kind of font. It's got the WWE logo on the left sleeve. This is very fun. I love this shirt.
I like how that one's very subtly a WrestleMania shirt.
Because of the royal flush, the luck part.
Like, mine are, like, very outwardly, no doubt in your mind, it is a WrestleMania 41 shirt.
This one's a little bit,
That
subtle.
one's much more subtle. Like, that could just have been a CM Punk shirt without a gambling, like, specific Vegas theme to it. And I wouldn't have been surprised. You know what I mean?
So, yeah. And so then my other CM Punk stuff, I actually had to ask for that one in my size. And that was Thursday night, so they were still having pretty much everything. Because I took I was only seeing larges. And then this was the only... There is only one of these tank tops on the floor. It's just basically, it's CM Punk's one fist.
It's the primary logo.
It's the primary logo, the fist with the X holding the lightning bolt with the 2 blue lines, the 4 red stars.
You've
it says CM Punk. You see it
on
his
times.
banner or like on his whatever
if
it's
you've
called.
Watched wrestling,
the Jumbotron.
If you watch wrestling anytime from like 2009 to 2014, if you then took a break and you came back to wrestling at Survivor Series 2023 and you're watching till now,
2020,
you have seen that shirt.
So yeah, there was only one on the floor, and I didn't even notice it in the first round. And it was
shout
a medium.
out to the workers of this superstore.
Oh, they are fantastic.
Oh, they had a long week.
Yeah, like the cashier we talked to said he was working until close at midnight. He was coming back for 9 a.m. and he was great. He folded our shirts so nicely, and we've since ruined them. But yeah, there was only a medium on the floor, and I noticed it lap 2, and so I was like, I like workout tank tops. I don't have very many. I tried it on over my t-shirt, and I was like, I don't know. And so I asked if they have a small, and I was like, I wasn't banking on it, and they did.
Well, and if you wear that one while you're at the gym, you'll have adrenaline in your soul.
Always. Wait a minute. So then the last one is if you have seen any of the, like, shirt promos where it kind of looks like they're in a factory, and it's, I'm on, like, a something play,
You know what's funny? Of all of those commercials that there have ever been, the only one that sticks in my mind is the one that had Matt Riddle at, like, the start of it, and it had, like, Bianca Belair going through
Oh,
it.
yeah,
That's,
yeah,
like, the
I
only
remember.
one.
That one had a catchy song, too. This is the
did.
shirt that he's wearing. I didn't realize it. This is the shirt that he came out in the night the Raw after WrestleMania. It's just basically one of the classic CM Punk shirts that's on sale right now. There's kind of a lot going on.
Yeah,
it's
there's
like
a bird.
Blue eagle.
With a
CM
shield.
Punk star. Well, his name's in a star. It's red and blue. And then like his fist shield logo thingy.
The flag of Chicago.
The flag. I'm not saying that. That's on the top by your neckline on the back. That was 6 shirts just at the WWE Superstore. I'm gonna quickly go through the 2 other shirts.
Well, real quick, are we spoiling surprises for our friends? Because I want to talk about the one. Dion's. I want to talk about that one.
Let's go ahead.
So in the John Cena section.
If we're gonna talk about spoilers, we should say I love that CM Punk WrestleMania themed one so much. I got that for my best friend Kelsey.
Sure, but we've already seen that shirt. We don't have this shirt with us anymore, but
we got this for her husband.
He wanted a John Cena shirt, and so there's one that says "Last Real Champion" in the middle on it for Cena, and I thought that was real. Like, that one was so cool. I gave it a second of a thought,
and I think that was in red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Did it have anything on the back? Did it have the "You Can't See Me" in the cards?
I don't think so. It may have had, like, you know how your Punk one had the smaller thing? It may have had just that with the "You Can't See Me."
Yeah, it's in the side.
But it was definitely in the same font and style as his, like, classic Never Give Up shirts.
Yeah. Hustle, loyalty, respect.
Yeah. So that one I thought was really, really cool. Then you had the Cena shirts that he wore on Raw with the card, you know, the "You Can't See Me," the last time, you know. And then shirts.
And we've been talking a lot about merchandise. I'm going to whip through these super fast. These 2 shirts are from Walmart because Matt found on Twitter someone had posted saying, what the heck are all these wrestling shirts doing out of Walmart in Vegas? Well, it turns out not only was this Walmart right next to the airport, this was the Walmart that Jey Uso did his signing at. That was right before Mania. So we got the Jey Uso shirt that was there. It has him. He's got his hand in a fist. He's not really yeeting, but it does say yeet in the background. It has his name. Super fun.
It's white and blue.
White and blue. And then there is I was not happy. Not happy is the wrong term. I wasn't impressed with there's a Cody Rhodes section. I wasn't really impressed.
Agreed.
I already have a Cody Rhodes shirt that Matt got me for my birthday.
And I was all ready to go. I was prepared to buy another Cody Rhodes shirt. But this one that we got at Walmart, I like quite a bit more. It's the
American Nightmare font, but it says Cody Rhodes. It doesn't say American Nightmare, and it just says Cody Rhodes, and then his logo is on it. Very good Walmart finds.
Yeah.
We did also get WrestleMania logo T-shirts.
Yeah, which we'll show one of those shirts later on.
Because we got the old logo way back when they first sold them. But we put our... I took some vinyl, and we found a WrestleMania font, and we put Team Mormon Honeymoon on it. We wore that to WWE World on Friday.
We met AJ Styles.
Yep. Okay, so 2 more things real quick.
Yeah.
This poker chip pillow, very soft. It's a poker chip, but it's got the WrestleMania logo. It says April 2025. Very soft, very good napping pillow. And then I collect decks of cards like my husband collects shot glasses. So I got the deck of cards. I got my dad there was a red deck. It has the legends on it. So yeah, the superstars are like the Jack, Queen, King, Ace, and they're different ones for each suit.
Sorry, Mysterio. You got Seth.
I'm pretty sure one of the Jacks is Logan Paul, or one of the Aces, and I wasn't.
I think he's a Jack. He's an Ace. He's an Ace.
So we haven't actually looked at his deck yet, but I know like Undertaker was on the deck. I think Shawn Michaels, Triple H.
A bunch of people.
Yeah, so he has the WrestleMania like Legends deck. And it does say on the box, like it is the special like WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, the back
special
is very
decks,
cool.
special deck. So it wasn't just like any old WrestleMania deck. I mean, I guess it could be, but like the box itself is pretty cool. So that was what we found at WrestleMania World, or at the Superstore. Now let's get into, and how we spent a whole lot of time talking about merchandise, but that was really fun. That was really fun. Now we're gonna get into WWE World itself. So we went Friday morning. We basically went for when it opened. We got there maybe 10 minutes after. So you kind of go through, and it's all in one convention like room. Yeah. But like I'm sure with like all convention centers they have sliding walls and stuff, so you can like adjust how big each room is. I mean, it was a giant area. I mean, I grew up in dance competitions, and I believe all of this was fitting into like one of those style rooms. Like that was how big that room was, maybe even a little bigger.
This was a trade floor style room. Like this was the big room. Yeah.
No, I know.
This wasn't like the little ballrooms.
No.
It was the big one.
But you walk in, and it's like this really cool like entryway to get into the room.
It had a lot of the past WrestleMania logos there. Like, there was WrestleMania 30 logo there. There was 21, 20. I think 26 was there. It was quite a few.
And there was the Rock nameplate that he lit on fire at that one Mania, whichever one it was.
32. And once again, got me going. Oh, that means The Rock is gonna be here.
Oh. So that was like the entryway, and then it all just and then it's all very expansive from there.
Yeah, it's very open.
If you turn to the right, the first place you see is the Pat McAfee stage. So basically they did a very good job of kind of like shuffling people in, so you're not just crowding the entryway. So we immediately went to the right with our signs, and so we had like our honeymoon checklist on both sides for this particular excursion, because we were hoping to get on TV. And
we did.
But as you can see in the photo, for our video watchers, I obviously did not make it very thick. So you see the sign, you don't see what's on the sign. So what was written on the sign was it said honeymoon checklist, and then we had 2 little check boxes, and it said see Pat McAfee yeet on our honeymoon, and then the bottom line was acknowledge our tribal chief. Because we did both. Yeah, because we knew that Roman was going to be there. So we were there. I think we got there as Pat was introducing all of his little people. And they were kind of coming out in their little WrestleMania gimmicks. The guy who was Hulk Hogan, like,
hell yeah, brother,
he rocked that. So the voice.
The Scott Hall, he gave up on the voice pretty quick. But the Hogan
guy, kept it.
And every time that he was talking, Michael Cole just starts giggling and trying to hold it. Like,
it was fantastic. If you watched
Michael Cole's face, he was trying just not to break
every time. And the guy was basically also like roasting Hogan a little bit within his gimmick.
Hell yeah,
and
brother.
It was so awesome. It was so funny. So we were kind of behind those people. So Pat's on the right, and then he had his guest, and then Michael Cole, and then all the people. So we were kind of behind Hogan a little bit. I'm kind of explaining it. Maybe Matt's going to throw some pictures in. I'm not really sure exactly what we have. As Matt looks awkwardly past the camera at our dog.
He's
digging on the bed.
What are you doing?
It's a fun part about doing a video podcast of basically a family at home. So we did the Pat McAfee show we ended up getting by the end, we ended up getting right up to the barrier because you had the VIP people that were actually close to the stage and then us normal people were back behind the barrier. So we got right up to the barrier by the time we left. So we were there through Roman, we were there through Stone Cold, we were there for the start of Rhea. And then by then we left to go get in line for
Hang on. Stone Cold. When Stone Cold comes out, first of all, once again, the place just erupts, right?
I mean, that glass breaking, hearing it in person. I know it wasn't necessarily a Mania. It wasn't at Mania, but it was that. I mean, because we didn't know he was going to be at Mania. Yeah. So that was like, this is the one time we're going to hear the glass break and like hear his music. Because they were playing the entrance music as they were coming out.
And Pat really does do a good job of the in-person events here. Like, and Paul Heyman, I know there's a couple clips of him on Monday. Of interacting with the crowd, talking to the crowd a little bit. Austin was doing quite a bit of that too, getting the people involved. And Stone Cold knows the what chant. We want to do it. So Stone Cold's talking in the manner of what, for us to go what, and as he's talking what, So it was all a lot of fun.
Yeah. And we were hoping to see at least Triple H get on the panel, I guess, because we only knew about Roman and Triple H. So we were like, oh, we get to see both of those maybe before we go, even though we knew it was a 3-hour show. But we did not. Triple H was while we were in line for our meet and greet that we scheduled ahead of time when they announced the Superstar meet and greets. We got to meet at 11 a.m. Vegas time, West Coast time. We got to meet AJ Styles. We were, I'd say, maybe like the 10th people in line.
Yeah, something like 15th.
We ended up, and it was better. We preferred to do that kind of wait than get anxious and be like, oh my gosh, it's getting closer. So like we saw him come out from behind the curtain. So, I mean, it was really fun. We chose to, and so he was only an autograph. So it kind of just depends on the Superstar. They were sometimes just doing photos. They sometimes were just doing autographs. I don't think at WWE World there was an option to do both. Okay, there was.
There was, but it was very expensive. I mean, it was the price of both minus like $10.
But I think also each
not every superstar.
Yeah, because AJ's was only offering autographs, right?
No,
okay, but then they must have been at different times then.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think which also probably worked out better for us.
Yeah.
Because we had other things we were doing, so we just did the one.
Yeah. Then we go up and there's AJ. Well, first of all. We were right behind in line when they did the video they did of the guy with the Alabama helmet.
That was so fun.
So that was funny. So first, a worker comes walking past with this Alabama helmet.
I didn't realize it was a worker. I thought it was just this guy.
And he's like, hey, does anybody here happen to be an Alabama fan? It almost looked like he was like offering it to like, hey, did somebody forget to bring this with them? Like, did you leave it to the table? It was almost like kind of that way.
I honestly didn't know it was a worker. I was just like, why is someone asking if anyone's an Alabama fan holding an Alabama helmet?
I clocked it pretty quick. Like once once the guy walked past us, I thought about it for a second. Like AJ's a Gate. He's a Georgia guy. He's a Bulldog. Mm-hmm. So that'd be pretty funny. Then this giant dude comes around. It looked like he could have been on the Alabama football team with the Alabama helmet, and AJ's cracking up over that. But no, then we go up there and. We show him our sign. We tell him, oh, yeah, it's our honeymoon, And we have him sign. Yeah, AJ was awesome, too. Like, he was literally phenomenal to talk to. And one thing that was nice, and I don't know if this was the case for everybody. I saw a complaint or two about CM Punk, where it was very much kind of quicker than you would like. We got quite a bit of time with AJ. Yeah. I think. I mean, relatively speaking,
Yeah. I mean, because when they do these, they will sell out because they only have them for a time spot. So, like, if they're like, okay, we know we could fit this amount of people in a time spot, well, then that's how many people are getting tickets. And one ticket could get, 2 people. So, because, I was afraid they weren't going to let me in because I didn't have my own ticket. So this was the other part that we were talking about earlier. We bought the WrestleMania logo shirt. We made it our honeymoon autograph shirt. So... I'll just kind of go through and tell you who all we got signed, and then we'll talk about them more.
Let's stick with AJ first. Let's just talk about AJ.
Okay,
AJ signs
AJ's
the shirt
in the left corner. He was the very first one. We showed him our sign, Because on the back side we had a honeymoon checklist, which was meet AJ Styles and then hit Logan Paul with a chair. Now, that was essentially going to be perfect because one other part of WWE World was like a little station area where it was like basically sponsored by Netflix.
It was an activity that Netflix was putting on where you could hit a Logan Paul dummy with a steel chair.
I was getting there.
I know, but
you don't have to interrupt me.
You were struggling, so I was going to help you.
Nope.
Okay.
You got to hit a Logan Paul.
She's going to hit me with a chair.
Yes. So it was supposed to be Logan Paul. So that was our intention. We're like, oh, that's perfect because I wrote it down and then Matt clicked it. He said, that's who he's facing. If we show AJ the sign, he's going to love it. And then we'll explain it. It'll be awesome. So we show AJ the sign, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, can I check mark it?" Did he ask, or did he just say, "I'm going to do it"?
No, he asked.
And we were like, "Oh my gosh, please!"
Yeah.
So he signed it with the P1, his logo.
I said something to the effect of like, "All right, now we got to check this first one off the box." We met AJ Styles. And I don't remember if it was right then where I said something about the second one, the check box.
I think he saw it, and he said, "Guys, I can't hit Logan with a chair." He was laughing. He's like, "I'm going to get disqualified." And then Matt goes, just knock the ref down. Yeah. But because I'm not sure we had time to explain, we thought we were doing it here. It turns out it's going to be a different guy.
That would have been
it still
too
worked.
long
It still
for
worked.
The time we had.
It still worked.
Yeah.
I think if it was still Logan, we were just like, we're just going to go do it over there.
Yeah.
That would have been faster.
We would have told AJ, you should come with us to go hit Logan with a chair.
Oh, that would have been funny. Yeah. So then his hair is way more luscious in person. It's awesome. I'm still very jealous of it.
He too sweeted us?
Yes, he did too sweet us.
Shook hands.
Yep.
Very nice guy.
Very nice guy.
He was great. Told us congratulations several times on the honeymoon and the wedding.
Yep. Then we walked away and we were like, I
was buzzing.
Yeah.
For the next 2 hours of it, I was just on the top of the world.
By then it was 11:30, so we got lunch, and then we were like, okay, now we're ready to do the activities. Because by then, Pat McAfee had cleared out, so we actually took a picture by the stage. By the stage that I kept looking at the whole time was this giant inflatable box of Frosted Yeets. They did have those in sale on the Superstore. That's one thing I chose not to grab because I didn't want it to get crushed in the suitcase. But I took a picture next to the giant one, which is much better. Then we walked around. So if you go to the right, it was kind of like Pat McAfee stage. There was a couple other stages kind of doing podcasts. Busted Open was one of them. And then in the back right corner was all the photo ops. So that's where if you were doing your the meet and greet was the photos, that's where you go. In the back left corner was the tables for the autographs, and that's where we were. And then kind of in the middle of that section was actually a little stand for Topps, which was the playing cards. And so one thing you could do was scan your just basically sign up for their marketing email, show them that you did it, and then you got a free deck of cards. We have a picture of the cards that we got, but we don't know where the cards themselves are because I took a picture and sent them to his brother.
And we had a great pull. I'm really upset because I had an AJ Styles one. And I just must have fallen out of my pocket somewhere in WWE World. But I had AJ, Kevin Owens, what was it, Charlotte, Tiffy, and Bo Dallas? Yes. Right? I think those were my 5. It was an awesome draw. I had the rest
of the ones that were on the picture. But initially, I had Tongaloa in my sack. And we didn't actually do it at first. The people in front of us in line for the little Triple H kind of museum of his ring gear and some memorabilia from his 30 years to celebrate his Hall of Fame. They went and did it first, and I said, "Oh, is that all you have to do?" So I came back in line, and I was showing them my cards, and he had a Lyra, and
my friend Lyra.
So at this point, had you already run into her? I don't.
Ooh,
I think you did.
I think so. I'm trying to remember time.
Because I think we did Dominic first. I think we hit Dominic first. We looked at all of the sports belts.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of pop them up here. We had the Royal, basically our teams. And then we had this fun one that we found of Penn State right above Tennessee. And we took that and we sent them to our boys. We thought that was very clever, very cute, and said, "Hi, guys." So then at that point, I said, "I need to go to the bathroom." So he said, "Okay." I went to the bathroom, and then this happened.
So there were 2 sets of bathrooms. There was the ones that were kind of in the middle of the room, and there was these other ones that were way down the end here. And so there's like a line to get into that main little section. So I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to walk the extra, like, I don't know, 30 feet or whatever it was, go to that one. So I go to that one. And that one, so she mentioned the photo op area. And this one, the men's one, is right next to the curtain to go back behind the scenes to that photo op area. It's right there. And so whatever, I go in there, I use the restroom, I walk out. Literally, the moment I walk out of the bathroom, here comes this golf cart flying like Stone Cold Steve Austin through that curtain. I juke forward to avoid death. And I look over, and I go, oh my gosh, it's Lyra Valkyria.
And she's got her title.
And she goes, hey. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my wife loves your hair.
Because she had just redone her hair and posted on Twitter. I think I told him that morning or the morning before. I was like, I love Lyra's new hair.
Yeah. And she just gave me a little giggle and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And,
so the guy... So then the guy in front of us had a Lyra card, and I guess he is a big Tongaloa fan. Yeah. I said, hey, I will trade you.
Which, God bless, a big Tongaloa fan. I didn't know those existed.
And so so we got a trade, so that's how I got the Lyra card. And then we walked through...
My friend Lyra.
Yes.
You got my friend Lyra on here.
So we walked through the Triple H stuff, and we'll flash some photos. It was, a lot of his ring gear through the years, and it kind of had some, just like a museum would. Like little video vignettes of his promos, the big DX Jeep there was, so Matt and I posed in front of it.
The video is all the big moments you would think it would be.
Well, they're on like little screens kind of, and like there's photos too, like it's just a classic like.
Yeah, walked you through a bunch of different WrestleMania
museum
entrances.
exhibit kind of thing, and it was much smaller, and we went through much faster than I thought it was gonna go. So, but I mean, because I didn't know what to expect. I just was like, oh, we went through that really fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a line to get in, so it's not like we wanted to like take too long of a time. But like, I mean, we took our time, but also felt like it was just a lot shorter. So then from there, I think then we went straight to the Superstar entrances.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say a couple of times we went to try to go back into the Superstore because we wanted to try to find another whiskey glass. And
the lines were insane.
There were giant lines on both entrances. There was one going from the convention center, like within WWE World, and then there was the one in the hallway, where we went in from initially. Giant. And I'm like, holy what? And there were so many times we looked at each other and we had said, we made such a good choice. Because we would have then probably waited 2+ hours to get into that store.
Probably.
And that's not even counting checkout. So then we went to the Superstar entrances. Because we knew that was going to probably be a bit of a wait. I think we were in line for maybe an hour and a half?
Yeah, it was a long one. The nice part with that, though, is when you were in line, you were in the, like...
in the vicinity of
you were, like, in the crowd. You were doing the chants, right? And so, when there's Jey Uso, which, by the way, a million Jey Uso entrances. So many Jey Uso.
It was almost shocking when an adult came out doing Jey Uso, because many of them were kids.
My favorite easily was the Kurt Angle, which my plan was to do a Kurt Angle. And I told her, that's going to be great. Everyone's going to chant, you suck at me. And if I don't,
it's going to give you a boost of confidence to have people yelling you suck.
And I was like, if they don't though, I'm prepared. I'll go heel, and I'll just start yelling at people, you suck, as I go down the entrance. I'll point at people and say, you suck, and I'll do it. So, because I didn't know how the crowd interaction was going to be, because when we first got there, they were taking a bit of a break on it. So we probably waited like 10 minutes or so before they started doing it in the entrances. But the crowd participation was excellent. Yeah. Every time there was a Roman Reigns, everyone puts up the ones. There was a Kurt Angle. We all yelled, you suck at that poor guy. I'm trying to remember some of the other memorables. I love
the Undertaker one.
Yeah, there was an Undertaker. Oh, this poor kid. And I hope the kid still has fun. I think this kid
was a teenager.
He was decked out in like old Undertaker garb. Ministry of Darkness.
It was curls. It was curls.
And he comes out, and you hear the gong, and like they even had a little smoke machine going too.
Yeah,
so that was really cool.
For certain entrances, they had the smoke machine going.
I know there were definitely a couple where I was like, oh my gosh, there's smoke coming out right now. And then all of a sudden, gong, Undertaker walks out, and he's doing the slow walk, but he goes to lift his hat, and his hair falls out, and the whole crowd, I think without meaning to like be mean to the kid, we all just in reaction
felt bad.
Just go, Oh.
We all felt bad. We were like, oh no. And he probably just waited 2 hours. Okay, so yeah, I was going to do CM Punk because I had my hoodie on. I was going to have my hood up. I was going to point out the bracelets because they were doing also like they were doing a little video and then they gave you a piece of paper to get your video downloaded like a QR code. So I was going to point at my bracelets and shout out my best friend Kelsey in mine. So we got about halfway through the line. Eventually we see that they cut it off. And this is at like 3:30.
Yeah.
Or like 2:30 something.
Yeah.
But like it shut down at like 4. The convention shut down at 4. And then all of a sudden the line just stops moving. And Matt, with his fancy dancy camera on his iPhone, sees a piece of paper by like where you would go into like Gorilla to I guess pick your song or whatever. And it said like they're pausing entrances from 3 to 3:30. So it must have been like 2:30 at this point, 2:45. They're pausing entrances from like 3 to 3:30 for NXT matches. So there's a couple of those. There's one like right around lunchtime. There was a giant ring in the middle of kind of the convention. It was literally in the middle. I mean, it was a full-blown ring. Yeah. And some of the like, I didn't recognize any of them, but like some of the like maybe like mid to lower card NXT.
Yeah, Tony D'Angelo, him and his people were part of it. Carmen Petrovich.
But they just had matches and you could go watch like ringside.
Pretty sure Cora Jade had a match when we were over to the Dominic thing.
So we had calculated we waited maybe an hour to an hour and a half at this point. We had only, we maybe made it through like halfway through the zigzag. And we were like, okay. And there was this big long pause in the middle. We didn't know what was going on. We were like, if they're also then going to take a 30-minute pause to only then do 30 minutes more of it, we're not going to make it. And there was the John Cena shirt display. I thought it was more of a museum part, but it ended up just being shirts. There was that, and then there was the ring announcer part that ended up not being what I thought it was going to be.
Real quick, just on the Superstar entrance.
But so we ended up leaving.
Real quick on the Superstar entrance, because I would just shout out a couple others, because there was a couple of very obscure entrances that I just found a lot of fun. The fact that they were options. Someone came out and did Adam Pearce.
That was so fun.
And they came out with, like, I don't know where they got the papers at, but they came out with, like, papers in one hand and their cell phone in the other hand. And you could tell they just, like, they looked at they just had a long Monday night of work. So that was a lot of fun. Also, stay in the back. There's a hurricane coming through. Someone did the hurricane. I found that incredibly fun.
Yeah, so there was a giant list, like, along... And so, like, I didn't actually get
Goldberg,
to look at it. So
we all got to go Goldberg.
Someone else did a Punk, someone else did a Cody.
Yeah, a lot of those too.
So, like, anyone that we had options for that we were like, maybe we'll do these, like, we saw it done. Yeah, the Hardys were done.
Hardy Boys were done.
Shane McMahon ended up being done once we left.
Yeah, that was also awesome.
And a lot of these people were actually coming in, like, like the Undertaker, like, several of these people were coming in costume.
Well,
and it was awesome.
When we were in line, there was a Fiend in front and a Fiend behind us, and both of them were very legit Fiends. The guy behind us in particular. But
dressed
both
up
of them
with the
were
eye
very
makeup, the
fiends.
mask, and I think one of them even had the Fiend belt with them.
Yeah. Both of them excellent Bray Wyatts.
Yep.
And so I remember I looked at the one I said, so I guess you're coming out as Roman Reigns, aren't you?
So
he was like, oh yeah, the big dog, ooh-ah.
So then we walked.
I really wanted to see, and neither one of them did it. I really wanted to see the Fiend yeet.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching every time. Neither one ever yeeted.
So we walked away from the Superstar entrances. We went and looked at the. We actually went to stand in line for. We thought it was going to be where you could be like one of the commentators. We weren't really sure how it was going to work, and that also ended up being a longer line than it needed to as well. And we saw it, and it was kind of just there wasn't really a full match in front of you. It was like little clips, and so we were like, "This isn't coming from reporting and like actually doing like kind of commentary stuff." Together anyway, we were like, this is not what we were wanting to do.
We can plug this camera and this microphone in. We can go turn on a sim match on 2K and we can do it.
And that was not what it was.
Oh my gosh, YouTube series idea. Matt and Becca do commentary.
You let Ryan know.
Let us know in the comments down below. Do you want Matt and Becca to do commentary over legendary moments on WWE 2K24? Because I haven't bought 25. So 2K24, you let us know in the comments down below if you want that.
So then we left that. We went and walked over to the John Cena section. And there were banners over in all the rafters, so you knew which way you were going. So I actually thought it was more of like kind of like a Triple H. It was more of a John Cena exhibit. I mean, the exhibit was literally just all of his shirts. Matt took like a video of it, so we'll put it here. It's like, I mean, I don't think it's every single one, but it's a lot of them.
Very colorful.
Very colorful.
The dude has had a colorful wardrobe over the years.
And then there was one part too. There was a giant thank you Cena wall. So you see here, I put my name in, and then I'm gonna start zooming out, and then eventually you'll see the whole picture. It says thank you Cena. Now, mind you, we all know he's turned heel, so why are we saying thank you Cena?
Though,
but we are saying thank you Cena.
We were there on Friday. It was hard to find room.
Oh yeah, so that's why I made sure I zoomed in on my name, and then I was like, then we're gonna zoom out. But yeah, I was just finding a little bitty spot, and I didn't even call him over. I was just like, nope, I'm doing this myself. So then we did that, and then we saw this the hologram stuff that ended up being what was for Tiffy's entrance. And I think I saw it was mainly Roman. I think I saw Bianca in there a couple times. But Matt goes, "Why don't you go pose with Roman?" And then he takes the picture and starts busting up laughing. I said, "What is wrong?" He said, "Roman is just disgraced with you. Look at this disgruntled face. He is literally looking down his nose at me.
He is scowling.
I mean, it's just a hologram, so it's just he's just moving, and it just worked out perfectly." And then, we Ubered home, we ordered Panda, and we watched SmackDown. So that was WWE World. So overall, very fun. I'm not really sure what I would have done differently, if anything, because, yes, doing that Superstar entrance would have been fun, but I also wanted to, I wanted to do everything. And we were only coming that day. There was paid entry for all the days, and you had to do it kind of ahead of time. Because we also get your wristband before. So, when we went Thursday night, we asked if we could,
So, first of all, you buy your ticket online ahead of time. Then, when you get there, you need to show your ticket and get a wristband. So, do that ahead of time. Because we went Thursday, when we went to the store, there was no line.
We were like, can we go ahead and get our Friday entry? And they said, oh, yeah, absolutely.
When we get there on Friday, that's got a line.
I mean, we probably would have waited 2 hours to get in.
I don't know about 2, but it would have been a while.
But, I mean, there was a place where you could go buy tickets, but that line was also astronomically long. So that was our Friday. And then we had Saturday morning.
By the way, the one thing we didn't mention, the other big stage. So, the Pat McAfee stage was over here.
Oh, yeah.
There was another big stage, talk show type of thing. At one point, Liv was up there. Penta Booker T, Triple H, Rhea.
AJ.
Yeah, AJ was up there. So there was another big stage where they were doing
a lot going on,
a
lot to do, a lot to look at. I mean, it's definitely worth.
It's worth a day.
I mean,
I don't think it's not worth 2, but it's worth a day.
Yeah.
It's worth a day.
So then let's jump into. I think we literally spent over an hour on WWE World. So let's go into WrestleCon. So WrestleCon is, for those that don't know, aka me before I went, WrestleCon is basically Comic-Con but wrestling.
That's what it sounds like.
I mean, and we had never been to a Comic-Con, so we literally had no idea what to expect. But so they announced WrestleCon, so then they would post on their website who all was going to be there, and then they also had their own prices. So they had photos, they had autographs, and a lot of times they had combos, which was a discount from the two put together. So basically anyone that wasn't an active, most I'm going to say 99.9, because Joe Hendry ended up being an exception. 99.9% of the people at WrestleCon were not actively on the WWE roster at WrestleMania. So basically it was everything, all the other promotions that wasn't WWE. I mean, Lex Luger was there, Kurt Angle was there, but they weren't actively involved in the WrestleMania part. They didn't necessarily have appearances at WWE World. Joe Hendry is a special character. He ended up having appearances at both. He's just out of the question. He's his own breed. But yeah, a lot of AEW people, TNA.
Honestly, though, not that many AEW people, really. AEW has a massive roster. There's probably only about, 8 AEW people?
I don't know.
You had JR.
A lot of retired.
You had JR, Mariah May, Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa was there. The Guns. All the Guns.
Soraya.
Yes. Oh, well, no, she's not on AEW anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's probably... MVP and the guys. Bobby and Shelton. So probably only about, 10 AEW acts were there. It was not a lot of AEW. It really wasn't. It was a lot of TNA people. it was a lot of just unaffiliated right now people.
Well, and also think too, we only went Saturday morning. Not everyone was there every single day. Everyone had their own special days.
No, but even look at the list though, at the guest list though.
Yeah.
Definitely the biggest stars, the biggest lines were Ric Flair, Tony Storm, Sting. Did I say Ric Flair?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Rick, Sting,
Mike
Tony, Mike Tyson, and the Hardys.
The Hardys. So.
And the Hardys were the one that we jumped in on.
Well, yeah.
After we got all the other people that we wanted, because we really hit our rounds really quickly.
So yeah, let's get into that. So like, yeah, we had our wristbands super quick. You did. So they had it was kind of like this. So they had like entry for like Thursday, Friday was like one price. Saturday was cheaper. Sunday was free. So we were like, let's go on Saturday because we were expecting basically WrestleMania, like WWE level lines for all of these people. So if we don't hit, we had 3 people in mind. We had kind of like a Joe Hendry, Kurt Angle in there. We had Elias and we had Matt Hardy. Those were like our 3. And we're like, okay, if we don't hit all 3, then did I miss something?
Well, we didn't have the Hardys on the list going into it.
No. We had we were like, oh, that's cool, but then we're like,
Matt Riddle.
No, that's what I just said.
You said Matt Hardy.
Matt Riddle. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we were expecting long lines. We're like, okay, if we don't get everyone Saturday, we'll go back Sunday.
We did get there though when it opened.
Yes.
And I think that helped us a lot because by the time we were done, lines were longer for a lot of people. It seemed like a lot of people went straight to those star lines, whereas we went in and immediately we went.
Well, because we also had no idea what to do because we were like, there's no lines. There's just these people just sitting there like waiting for us to come talk to them.
It was honestly, it was almost a surreal sight because it is. Like, because so many people went straight to those lines, and a lot of those lines were in exterior rooms. So like the main ballroom had a lot of people in it. But then your Ric Flair, Mike Tyson, Sting, they were all in separate rooms. The Hardys were upstairs. JR and King were upstairs.
And this was at Westgate. This was not at the convention center. This was at Westgate, so it was at a hotel.
Yeah. And so you walk in and you look around and you just go, wait a second here.
Why is no one at...
It's just all of a sudden, here's the inspiration, the Iconics, just sitting here.
So
and it's almost a weird sight.
So we're like, what the heck do we do? Because also, you had the opportunity to prepay for all of these ahead of time. We chose not to because we didn't want to risk not seeing someone on Saturday and having to just come back on Sunday. And plus there was, they were sending us to all these different sites where they were booking processing fees. We weren't doing fees. Yes. So so Matt goes, why don't we just go talk to the inspiration? They'll tell us what to do.
They seem like such friendly people. I'm like, here's 2 friendly faces who we know, who we've watched their stuff of before. I'm like, why don't we just go talk to them?
So we went up to them and they were super nice. We were like, what do we do? And they explained it. They're like, yeah, you just kind of go and you just talk to them. And like, yeah, it's like people have their prices. Like obviously.
And they had like little sheets on their table of the prices. And as far as I could tell, the tables we went to, the prices were the same online as they were in person.
Yeah. So, I mean, they just really broke it down. Like, yeah, just walk around. You go up to who you want to go up to. Yeah, especially in terms of like with WWE World, it was definitely more like on a time crunch. A lot of AJ was sold out, so obviously, he had a very booked up schedule. Oh, the longer lines and then like as we turned out, and we went up and asked the inspiration later, it's like, can we just, if there's no one in line, can we just go up and like talk to them? Like, do we have to pay for a photo or an autograph? Like, can we just go up and talk to them? She's like, that's what we're here for. So yeah, we went up and talked to them for a little bit. They explained kind of what was going on. And then we were like, we weren't planning on, we didn't say this part out loud. We were like, we weren't planning on paying for them. But then we were like, we put down $100 and we're like, we're getting an autograph and a photo.
Yeah.
So
they were too nice.
So this was our autograph. Yep. So mostly everyone had like photos that we could pick from to sign. So I was kind of looking. There was a couple that Matt's like choose from, and then they said, well, if you know us as the Iconics, pick this one. So yeah, they autographed it to us. They put our names.
And that was one thing. That was one thing a lot of them were very cool with. Was like, we get it. If you know us from WWE, because that's the biggest platform we've ever been on, that's cool. Like a lot of them really did seem like cool with that. The other one, he signed in his WWE name.
But so they said if you pick the WWE photo, we sign it as Peyton and Billy, even though we're
Cassie and Jessica.
Yeah, so like it's no big deal. Peyton signed it as Happy Honeymoon. They were very impressed that we went as a honeymoon, and especially if Matt pointed out that this was when it was my idea. I got a lot of praise.
A lot of praise. Pretty cool.
So then we were like, okay, we're ready to do this.
I was acknowledging you as my tribal chief.
I think it was as we walked into the ballroom, wasn't even past the inspiration. We walked by Nick Nemeth, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler.
That was the first person you saw.
And
we were in line still.
And I made this face. For the audio listeners, it's very much up.
Imagine Becca as angry.
It's angry. I am not. Dolph Ziggler obviously does his job. I do not like him. So then we're like, okay, which direction do we go? Because so it's basically 3 long columns, but there's a space in the middle. So if you want to kind of do smaller snaking. So we were like, okay, what do we do? Okay, so they were kind of near, they were in the center the inspiration was in the center column, kind of in between the entranceway and the middle part. So we kind of went left at the center, and Nick Nemeth is right there, and I went, and then we're like, okay, let's just turn right. And initially we were like, let's just walk, and this is what always happens. We're gonna do a lap. We're gonna see where everyone is.
And then she started crying and turned into a puddle.
Okay, so we get to the back corner, and immediately, so we, on the corner, turning the lap, or turning right, is Elias, and he had no line. And so, I couldn't walk past his table anyway without being near him. And so I look, I see where he's at, and I turn, and I immediately start crying. Elias means a lot to me. He was probably one of the first people that I really saw when I got into WWE, and this even going back to when I first watched that WrestleMania. Yeah,
because the first WrestleMania you watched
was New Orleans.
Was the one where John Cena was calling out The Undertaker, and Elias came out instead. And that was really kind of one of the big moments of that WrestleMania.
And I read that. Yeah, that was my. And I love Elias. I was really sad when he left. The Ezekiel stuff was so funny. And so I said when we saw that he was on the WrestleCon roster, I said, we are meeting him.
And he had one of the pictures of his brother Ezekiel. He's
like, I can sign it on. He's like, I'm sorry, that's my brother Ezekiel, but
I don't mind signing it though.
On his behalf. So I then have to get my cool. I am not good with celebrities. I'm so sorry. I either cry or I don't speak. And that's what I'm always afraid of. But at least I don't scream. I try to keep my cool and I don't. So then Matt goes, it's okay, and I had makeup on, so I was trying to calm myself down. And we go up to him, and he's watching this whole thing. I felt him looking at me. I think we made eye contact too before I turned my head and I realized who it was. So I go up to him, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Just big fan." Because also, if you think about the kind of caliber that he is, a lot of people are not going to be crying over Elias. I may have been the only fan ever to ever cry over Elias. And I was like, just big fan. And so then we started talking. And so he ended up having a special deal, which you could get a personal item signed, a picture signed, and then the photo. So I will hold up the picture that Matt insisted I chose.
It made sense to me.
I was going to just do one of Elias in the ring with his guitar, and it was of Elias. Right now he's Elijah in TNA, but he had me do the one of Elias and Undertaker in the ring. He did sign it to Matt and Rebecca, and he signed it Walk with Elias. And that is also how he signed our shirt. And it was very awesome. Matt got pictures of him signing the shirt. And then we took the picture, and the first picture that we will show, you can tell I'm cheesing real hard. But then we showed him our little Funko Pop of him after the fact. We were just kind of talking. We were talking about his music. He said, it just kind of just got pulled, because I didn't have it on Apple Music anymore. He said, it's just pulled. I don't know. May never get it back.
Yeah, he seemed more disappointed about that than angry.
Yeah, so, and then we pulled out my tiny Elias, and he goes, "Oh, little Eli, let's redo the picture. He should be in that." So little Eli helped me calm my face down, and so we got basically a free photo, and we got a picture of Elias and little Eli. So I said, I'll just post on social media if you're ever gonna have music again. So then we walked away, took some deep breaths, and there's Joe Hendry.
And you turned into a puddle again?
No, I didn't cry. I was ready. He had a line of 3 or 4 people. So
he got in line. It gave you time to compose yourself. Yeah.
His muscles are so huge. Oh my gosh. This man is ripped. Well, that's the thing about wrestlers in general. Elias was also dressed in character.
Yeah.
Joe was wearing his white Joe Hendry shirt, but he had the title.
Yeah, he had the title.
He let us hold the title in his picture. He just he signed it, just very cutesy, all Joe Hendry. It's just simple.
I think it's got an exclamation point, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has,
Yeah, Joe Hendry.
So yeah, we were telling, so like, especially for, so AJ we understood, but Elias was the first person to sign the WrestleMania shirt, and we said, hey, this is like our honeymoon WrestleMania shirt. Are you okay signing it? Everyone said yes.
Yeah.
And like just with it was Elias and then the Hardys. We weren't really sure about like, I mean, we were like, if they say no big deal. Like you just kind of, you don't know what everyone's bad blood's at. Well, Joe Hendry at least has the TNA partnership with WWE, and as we found out, he was probably laughing in his head. He's like, hey, I'm gonna be there. But yeah, we were just like, if you're okay signing this is our honeymoon. This is our like WrestleMania shirt. And everyone's like, oh, you're here for your honeymoon. Congrats, all that stuff. So it was super fun. Because Joe Hendry did have a little bit of a line. Didn't get really talk to him, but he did let us.
A little bit though. I mean, like we got to just kind of ask him.
What did you say? Oh, you mentioned.
I asked him if him and Elijah were gonna do a partnership now that a duet. Now they're in the same company.
Yeah, that made
him
laugh.
He just kind of chuckled and was like, we'll see.
You just have to watch. Yeah,
you'll have to watch and see. We'll see.
Yeah, and then we continued down. So that was going to the right. So then we continued back down the center aisle. And then we just kind of saw James Ellsworth just standing there.
Yeah.
And then
he talked to us.
He came to us.
We were kind of standing there trying to kind of figure out our next move because we saw Riddle was sharing a table with James Ellsworth.
And
Riddle never showed up.
He actually never showed.
As far as we know. But no, so James Ellsworth
he
kind
came
of like,
to us.
he was like, hey dude, it's like, what you up to, And so we just
talked
talked
like
a little
15
bit.
minutes.
Yeah, he's got a company that he's working, that he does in Maryland. We talked about being Ravens fans, and that's pretty cool.
In Kansas City.
Ended up doing a picture with him.
Yeah.
Just because like we were standing there talking to him, and I saw it was only $20, and so I was like, you know what, we've talked to him, like let's go ahead and just do this.
Well, and one thing you pointed out to me after we left, a lot of these wrestlers, especially if they were doing cash.
Yeah.
They were. Yeah. This is for them. They're not having to necessarily pay an extra, like the processing fees or whatever, like that company or whatever.
Yeah.
What they made from these, especially like the photos and videos, at least the cash wise, they were pocketing. Like
you felt good about it, really.
Yeah. So like James Ellsworth literally got his wallet out and put the $20 in there.
But like that was a factor for me in that like I literally watched that $20 just go into James Ellsworth's wallet. And so, like, it's not like, and, who knows? I'm sure there's some kind of deal where, like, whatever company he's working for, or, with some of these guys, maybe, like, TNA gets a cut out of it or something. Yeah, there could be. But, like, I don't know. At least to me, I got to feel better about the money we spent with that. It's not just going to some, corporation or something. It went to the people.
Yeah. So then from there...
Jeff Hardy had a bag.
Yeah. So from there, we kind of just walked around a little bit more because then, he told us that, like, he and Riddle are best buddies. He probably just was doing Vegas stuff, probably didn't go to sleep till 3 hours before. He said, but that's his suitcase, so we're thinking he'll be here around 11. I said, okay, we'll come back. And it didn't happen. But, yeah, then we kept walking around. Yes, I'm getting there. We didn't really see anybody else that, like, we had necessarily had our eyes on. We just kind of pointed out people. So Matt said... Or was it my idea? He's like, I'm going to go say Scissor Me Daddy.
It was my idea. I think you were like, oh, do you want like a picture of anything really good? I'm like, no.
You said, I'm just going to do it.
I'm just going to go shoot my shot.
And I said,
I'm going to walk over there and go.
Because he had no line.
He had no line, so I just walk over, hey, Scissor Me Daddy ass. And
I was right behind him, so like I saw that it happened, but I didn't actually see it. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Put your fingers away. So, yeah, that happened. No, stop it. I don't know if we actually talked to any other people. And then we kind of, Matt threatened to go by Nick Neiman's table, and I said no.
Yep.
Went to their gift shop. It was just a bunch of signed stuff and dolls. Yeah. A couple books, but like nothing. Yeah. I was already disappointed at the Superstore not having books, and I was like, I'm fine.
So then decision time came.
So then we went up. There was like a back room which had Kurt and that was where JR was.
No, JR was the same level as the Hardys.
Okay, but there's Kurt Angle, which was the only one with the Steiner. No, Steiner's are upstairs.
Steiner's were main room.
No, Steiner's were actually supposed to be upstairs.
No, I took a picture of Steiner's. I took a picture of Scott Steiner.
Well, they had two different booths.
Trying to do math.
I'm just saying. But Kurt was in one room, and then there was other people, but Kurt was the main So yeah, then Hardy's had a line upstairs. That's where Lex Luger was. That was where JR was. So yeah, then we had to make a decision.
APA,
yes. So then we had to make a decision. So we were like, I told Matt he had to decide. I thought because of all the WWE World stuff, I was like, I think you want Kurt, and also we were talking money stuff too. I said, I think you're gonna want Kurt.
We were only gonna do one, really.
I said, I think you'd want Kurt. I think we could get Kurt.
And Kurt Angle had a much less line than the Hardy Boys.
And then
because the Hardy's line was insane.
Yeah.
But no, as I told you, like, no,
Jeff
was my guy. Jeff especially, like Matt also, the Hardy Boys. Like honestly, like growing up for me, it was The Rock, and then it was the Hardy Boys. And so yeah, so I decided to go do the Hardys.
Yep.
So we waited in a very, very long line.
It was about 2 hours.
But we got to have a special interaction while we were waiting in line.
We made friends in line, and that's what's wonderful about the wrestling community as a whole. You just kind of talk and get to know everyone. Yeah, and then Lex. Well, did we mention this? We mentioned this at the Hall of Fame part with the Jonathan stuff.
Yeah.
So if you didn't listen back to night one, Lex Luger has like so basically someone that we watched on Survivor, a player, one of my favorite players, basically kind of helps out
Jonathan.
His name's Jonathan. He helps out Lex, and he was like, well, and it turns out he almost ran me over with Lex's wheelchair in the lobby.
Yeah.
And that's when we realized we were in line for Hardy, the Hardy Boys on the stairs, and Matt goes, oh my gosh, you guys just almost got ran over by Jonathan.
Yeah, because he went in the elevator that was right there.
We saw Luger's had a documentary.
Luger's table was right next to the Hardys. And so when we're standing in line at the bottom of the stair, like this is how long that Hardy's line is. We're at the bottom of the stairs to get up into the room.
And
that's when I see Jonathan pushing Lex Luger into the elevator. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Jonathan. Oh my gosh, Jonathan almost ran you over with Lex Luger's wheelchair.
So we had noticed in one of, I think it was the A&E documentary, that Jonathan was in it. Like they go to the same gym. There was a couple talking heads that Jonathan did. So we were like, we're not surprised that he's here. And he's like, he's probably going to be at the table.
Well, I was surprised that he was here.
Well, I meant like once we noticed it was
him.
So then when we get up into the room, they had us snake it to kind of clear up the stairs. And so at one point, the snake goes right in front of Lex's table. And we're like, we're going to say something to Jonathan. And so Matt goes, is that Jonathan? I went, Mr. Jeff. And he's like, oh my gosh, comes out from behind the table. We got a picture with him. We told him about the little like fantasy thing that we did with our Survivor friends. I named my team Mr. Jeff fan. He loved that. So it was super fun. I think I wonder. I'm sure he got a couple other people that recognized him, but I don't know. I think that kind of tickled. I think that kind of tickled him a little bit. It's like
this is not his world at all.
I know, but I was like, do we have to pay for a picture of Jonathan? I'm not sure we do. But...
This is not his world at all. So it would not be surprising if we were the only people the entire weekend who were like, you're the guy from Survivor. Who looks like a wrestler, by the way. Like, completely jacked, long hair. Like, he looks like a wrestler. And, by the way, I asked him the important question.
Is he going to be
Are you on Survivor 50? And he didn't deny it.
So, we'll see. But we waited about 2 hours for the Hardys. We got up there with about 30 minutes left before they had to leave, and it closed down. Matt did not cry. And we decided just from a financial standpoint that we were only going to do autographs. And what was awesome is when they say you had to pay for a photo, that was a staged photo where you're ever actively looking at the camera and smiling. They did not care if you were taking pictures of them signing it. Like, they didn't stop me from taking pictures of Matt and Jeff signing our shirt.
Matt Hardy,
yes. So
I was just holding the shirt.
Yeah, so they had us us hold and spread out the shirt so they could sign it. And Jeff does like a little drawing on every autograph that he does, so it's like super unique. You're not going to be able to tell on camera because he used silver, but I mean it's pretty.
I'll
cool.
Take a picture of the shirt.
He had a lot of his art up for sale too there. He shook our hands twice. He said thank you for coming. We did mention that it was our honeymoon. They said congrats. I'm telling you, like, wrestlers are like, they obviously beat people up for a living, but they are the nicest freaking people.
Yeah, they were great. I think we only had one interaction that was a little weird. That was when we then went back downstairs and we showed Britt Baker the TikTok of King doing some of the wrestler taunts and intros and stuff.
We
showed her the Dr. Britt Baker DMD
that
part.
King does.
which we'll put on screen here. I can download your TikTok.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And that was just a little weird. She wasn't quite as into it, I think.
She was getting ready to leave, so we were like, because we saw like everyone kind of had like someone, at least one person there with them, and that was probably to help either collect money or take pictures, or do both. And she, like, her person looked like she was packing up. She kind of just, she just kind of was like looking down at them. I said, "Are you like available or something?" She's like, "Well, I'm getting ready to leave, but like, can I help you?" And I said, "Okay, well, can I show you this real quick?" Said she loves King. And he's sitting on the bed looking at us, not caring. But I mean, we basically were there almost the whole time it was open. It was a 9 to 1 thing. I think we got out of the Hardee's at like 12:30.
Yeah, because we were at the Hardee's for a while.
Well, then it turns out as we were walking back through the Westgate Hotel, through the casino to get to the ride share.
Not yet, though, because at first we decided then to try to do one more autograph. We're like, you know what? Because we only did autograph for the Hardee's, let's go do Kurt Angle. So we go back into that other room. We go towards that other room to go do Kurt Angle. And then all of a sudden, who is walking right at us? It's Kurt Angle.
So he kind of left maybe about 15 minutes early. And then we're like, okay, well, that's it.
Yeah, that was our last person.
Well, then it turns out we followed him almost all the way through the hotel. And
through the casino part.
Through the casino. Well, like, yeah, because you had to go through the part of the hotel, through the casino to get to where the ride shares are. And I'm actively saying out loud, like, oh, yeah, we need to be following the ride share part. So he doesn't, like, feel this presence behind him and think we're following him. He then peeled off. Matt got to shake his hand and say, like, thank you.
Yeah, just thanks for being awesome. Like, big fan,
Yeah. And he said, take care. Like, thanks for being here. So that was WrestleCon. Wow. I mean, it was way more than I thought it was going to be. And, I mean, it absolutely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
I think we'd go again to also try to like get, either to say hi to some of those people, like obviously try to get new people to sign. Like
I think for me, like I think the couple of people who I was always kind of keep my eyes peeled on the guest list that just never appeared on the guest list at all. John Morrison and JEFF Jeff Jarrett were kind of the two that I kept on like scrolling and hoping to see because there was never gonna be any WWE people on there, right? So you gotta kind of take that going into it, knowing that. And also Adam Cole, baby. That was kind of the other one, where I was just hoping that like those people were gonna come up on there. And so yeah, no, if there was another one, if SummerSlam comes to Kansas City some year and they have WrestleCon here, then absolutely, we'll definitely go to it.
All right, so now we'll get into Monday Night Raw.
Holy cow, we still have Monday Night Raw go.
Well, I feel like there's not really a whole lot to touch on. Just kind of like we were there for the big returns to see the fallout.
Like, the Rottermania vibe of it all.
We were not as close as we were. Still kind of in the same area. I'm a little bit more on an angle, but we were looking at the stage. But we were up a little bit higher.
We were top.
I don't think we were full on nosebleeds. I think there's one section higher.
No,
but
it was just the club seats. The suites are all
okay. I don't know how.
Because Hockey Arena's the suites are the very top.
There's a couple dark matches beforehand. And yeah, like what Netflix does. So, I mean, it's basically an ongoing show. There's like really no time to get up for a bathroom break because
so much better than it used to be.
Yes.
Because back
you could tell where the dead spots used to be.
Yeah, when we went to Raw here last year for the draft, you could tell the commercials. Even just in matches, I felt like this time around was a lot better. And I'm assuming that's because of the Netflix for the people who pay for no commercials.
Because
it's still televised then. So yeah, limited dead time, really like minimal dead space. They did a really good job.
It's not necessarily a lot of stuff that could be like make or break, like on a match or like a mind blowing promo. Because there were a couple promos that were done during the dead time. It's just
it's something to watch.
But it's better content, to be perfectly honest, than what we were getting during the dead time, or just content in general. Because if it was between matches,
there'd be nothing.
So there were a couple dark matches. It did start off with Cena. Which it worked a lot better with the no graphic, just the black, because this was a full-on arena, so full roof. And so, full dark. So that was cool. And then he did the whole get out your phone thing, and I went, Matt, is your phone out? He's like, I'm already on it.
Because there's Randy Orton.
Yeah. And so... yeah, that was a lot of fun because everyone's like, whoa. And I'm not even sure he was out yet, but we were like, it's coming. We knew, but we weren't supposed to know.
But we knew.
So that part was really cool. We haven't fully gone back and rewatched the whole of it. Did we? We watched the whole thing?
We watched that Raw.
We watched the whole... Oh, yeah, we did watch the whole thing.
We watched Raw.
Okay, sorry. I'm getting that week versus this last week confused.
Yeah. I would say from, like, just, like, the live standpoint of things, number one, just, like, for in that building, I think we talked about a little bit at WrestleMania itself, the Becky heel turn. Being there in person for that, you could tell that the people there did not want to boo Becky.
We were very confused. We were like, wait, what?
I was booing Becky because I felt like I was supposed to, but like nobody.
And I think we were all kind of like, why the heck win the titles and then lose them again? We almost were like, why are we even having this match? I mean, obviously we're all for it because we got to see these women again.
My friend Lyra.
And Raquel's part of the promo was awesome. It was just in Spanish the whole time.
That was very fun.
That was awesome. And Liv was like, yeah.
That was one of the ones that was during commercial.
Yep. And so yeah, I looked at, after Becky, we were like, what were we supposed to do? And he's like, that's going to go great. Mm-hmm. And then Io, giant pop. Her promo was beautiful. And then when Stephanie came out, I'm not going to even try saying her last name. I'm not going to do it. Bakur. She came out, and her music hit and her like logo popped up. I immediately went, our best friend Peter Lewis is dying. He never did answer me that night. He never has actually told me if he's okay or not, because she came out, banger of a match. Holy wow. So much fun to watch in person. It deserved the time it got. At one point I was like, holy crap, this has been kind of a long match. But I'm like, they deserved it. And then like Julia came out too, and I was like, and Peter's now a puddle. Because obviously he's hoping for both of them to get on the main roster. And then obviously Roxy showed up. Cool. Yeah, sounds good. And what was next? The New Day. Well, I'm not sure if we're probably not doing this in order. Just kind of the big stuff. So New Day, where they were like, okay, Matt goes, this is it. The Hardys are coming. I will actually cry. He's like, I'm going to actually cry. So when it turned out to be Otis and Tozawa, we were like,
very bummed.
Are you kidding? I think the rest of the crowd was kind of like, huh? But then when the music hit after that, we didn't recognize it at first because they didn't pop up any graphics at first. So I didn't.
His face was up there.
No, it wasn't at first.
Not at first? Okay.
No, it's almost like the lights went out, the music hit, like the first little intro, and we were like, who is this man? Then all of a sudden it was Rusev. We were like, yes! We were like, yay! Finally, we got something right! And then he came out and murdered everyone.
Yeah. And it was awesome.
It was very fun. Was he the only big return that night? Now we're now 8 days removed from it. And I'm starting to get confused.
Yeah?
I think so. It was like, Sammy!
Sami Zayn, and then all the NXT call-up people. So, Sami Zayn with the Jey Uso promo.
Yeah, so
that was cool.
Scared the living bejesus out of all of us. Yeah. Because, so Jay came out, did his yeeting, got his cheers. He rounded up, we did it again.
It was just a happy promo, which is weird and doesn't happen. Then Sammy comes out. It was just like, hey, we're here to celebrate, bro.
And he's like, I'm so proud of you. And we're like,
But there's that moment, though, where Sammy gets off the turnbuckle, and it's like, uh-oh, we're not ready for this. And it didn't happen. And then, I don't know, we'll see what happens. I mean, Raw kind of almost gave an indication.
But you felt
it, though.
And I don't know if I was just radiating off of Matt, who was telling me it's like, something's not right. He better not turn. Or if, I think maybe it just spread, but I mean, like, everyone was kind of feeling, because I think Jay was also showing it in his face, like, what's going on out here? Like, are you being for real or not? I think kind of even a little bit with Jimmy, too. I think we weren't sure if Sammy was then going to turn on Jimmy and not on Jay. So everyone was just kind of anxious the whole time until they left.
Yeah.
And they went behind into Gorilla. That's when we were like, nothing's going to happen. And then Seth.
Yeah, that's the last big
thing. I think. Yeah, I think it was, as everyone expected to be. I think especially for Raw, I was not necessarily participating in the chants nearly as much. I really was kind of feeling everything. I wanted to feel it all. Your voice was shy. Yeah, I was But gone. You were like, I'm going all in.
Yeah. Yeah, with any of them that I
but
could.
I wanted to just kind of feel and hear it all. And so, like, I'd start off doing the chants, but I would, like, break off after, doing it a couple times. I just wanted to, like, hear it. Like, with Seth, I was like, I really don't know how I'm supposed to react. And Paul Heyman, I don't know. I don't know because everything. And then, yeah, I think I caught on my end. I caught when Braun Breaker came out. Yeah. And I said, Matt, there's someone there. Yep. And so we saw him sneak in and spear, and Matt goes, that's Braun, before he even took the hood off. You could just tell with the way he was carrying. On the spear.
If it wasn't Braun Breaker, it was Goldberg.
True.
And it wasn't going to be Goldberg.
And Matt was like, this is, and then, yeah, we left, and we were like, and Matt's like, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And through 2 weeks it is.
Yeah. So we won't really get into like this last Raw, because otherwise we'll keep talking forever. Yeah. So, because it was in Kansas City, it was in Kansas City, but we closed down our first house. So. We did not go.
We forgot to mention that we saw Minoru Suzuki. We walked in the door right behind him.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going way back to WrestleCon because I didn't get a chance to get that in there. Yeah, so I took a picture of him with Trent. Mm-hmm. Japanese wrestling legend. So that was cool. No, Raw, much better experience now than it was before. I don't know if that is the case every week or if the Wrestlemania got a little bit of extra special presentation because it's the only Raw on Netflix that we've gone to so far. But definitely a better live experience now than it was before. I had a lot of fun. We went probably because it was the draft too.
Yeah.
But I would argue the house shows have been more fun than the Raws.
Yeah.
House shows are a blast.
Well, and even comparing it to when Raw was on USA versus Netflix.
Exactly. Yeah, the one that we went to.
Yeah.
That was out here. Yeah. But now this Raw definitely compared more to the house show, I think, where it was a nonstop go, go, go. I mean, I think the only time I left was to go to the restroom. I actually went at the very start of the Penta match because I knew the Penta match was going to go on for a minute.
That was a return, JD.
That was another one, yeah, JD.
And yeah, Finn didn't know.
But I knew I was going to have time because like it's going to be a Penta match that's going to have some time. So I was like, oh, there's not a lineup here, so I'm going to go now and come back in time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we hit it all.
I think so. I'm sure we didn't, but I think so.
Yep. So thank you for enduring in however long all three of these episodes are put together, but they will be split up. Thank you for helping reliving our honeymoon with us and for kind of going along this wrestling journey on the entertainment from the 573. Because we took up so much time, I have no idea if we'll be allowed to do this again. But we will probably never go to a WrestleMania ever again. Maybe. We don't know. Don't know if money grows on trees. Be sure to like and subscribe all of the podcast from the 573 channels, views and entertainment. I believe Ryan is going to be putting out a solo draft recap pod because all we're doing now is working at our jobs, working on our home, and eating and sleeping.
We sound miserable.
We somehow carved out time to do this. But yeah, we're doing a lot of work on the new home before we officially do the move. So he's taking that one solo. I have no idea what else he's doing, and neither do we. So I think that's it. Bye.